Back with us now, Congressman Jason Smith. First, let's deal with this. The Democrats, they have a new version of IRS snooping. Now they're claiming they're going to go after high-income earners, and that it's on $10,000, and that's $600 in transactions. This is meaningless. It's not per transactions. It's annualized totals. Most everyone has more than $10,000 worth of annual transactions. You don't become a millionaire or billionaire in $600 or $10,000 transactions. They're still creating this IRS dragnet into everyone's finances. Why don't they start looking to their own waste, fraud, and abuse? Why are they snooping on everyone else?
Liz, this announcement just in the last couple days saying that they've dropped the $600 snooping item on the IRS, it's a joke. It's all just trying to change perception because they knew that the American people were onto it and that the American people were not having it. Think about this. If you make minimum wage in the state of Missouri and you work 40 hours a week, in less than 24 weeks, you would then be up to the IRS auditors. One thing about it, the legislation that they have before Congress right now still supplies $80 billion to hire 87,000 IRS auditors to target all Americans, especially working class families.
You know, they act like they have a monopoly claim on taxpayers' wallets when there is massive government waste, fraud, and abuse. Hundreds of billions of dollars in waste in the U.S. government. Why don't they go after that instead of going after taxpayers?
Liz, it's all about command and control. Democrats love to control the American people, and this is a way using the IRS, which is the most feared agency, to target everyday Americans to make sure that they monitor when they have any purchase over a couple $100. And when it adds up to a total of $10,000, there they go. Or just having their income deposited, they'll be monitored.
This is far left bullying. You're guilty until proven innocent before the IRS. I testified twice before the U.S. Congress about IRS reform and tax reform. I covered the IRS for decades. I know IRS workers. They don't want to be politicized like this. They don't like it. The IRS has already leaked to ProPublica tax returns for the wealthiest. So, you know, this is now the Tea Party of the left, as Joe Lieberman said in the Hill newspaper. He's saying the far left progressive they're leading a movement that speaks for a tiny portion of the electorate. They don't have a mandate. Where's the bipartisan pushback against that? Because we sure have seen far-left bullying. They tried to occupy the Department of the Interior this weekend. Not a lot of media coverage of that, right?
It is. You know, what's scary is what happened during the Obama administration when the IRS was targeting the Tea Party. This is back to that same approach once again. The IRS should never be used as a tool against American citizens. It's unacceptable. It's horrifying. It should be a bipartisan approach of folks being against it.
We're just showing far-left activists pushing against cops last Thursday. It happened through the weekend, too, as they tried to push their way into federal buildings in Washington to occupy them. You know, Democrat Senator Joe Manchin, he is saying no to, he doesn't like the $150 billion clean electricity plan. This is the Democrats' signature piece in their, spending bill. He says no to that. This could blow up both the $3.5 trillion social spending and infrastructure. Is Biden's agenda now dead in the water?
Nothing's ever dead in Washington, unfortunately, but let me tell you, we're trying to save America by killing this bill. Right now, Senator Manchin is listening to the people of West Virginia. And the people of West Virginia, what they already know about this tax and spending proposal is that they're against it. It is trying to eliminate their way of life. West Virginia is a very poor state, and this piece of legislation targets working class families. It's unacceptable. It has to stop. We have to kill the bill to save America.
We've got misreporting by MSNBC and saying that Manchin is putting his donors ahead of what they think needs to be done in Congress. As you point out, he represents his voters. Everybody in Congress has donors. This is really fatally naive and so cliched nonsense coming out of MSNBC in their coverage, again distorting and misleading the issues and not reporting on the issues as you have brought them to us. Congressman Jason Smith, thanks for joining us. You'll be back soon.